Our next question is from Ben Westcott from Bloomberg.
Thank you very much for your speech, Mr Bandt. You've said you'll support Labor's climate bill. However, you're clearly still sticking very closely to your policy of no new coal or gas mines. But given you're supporting this policy, how do you plan to push through that agenda with the Labor government, who have stated very, very clearly that they're not going to basically do that? I mean, has your best chance to push them on that now passed?
This is round one. There is 3 years of this parliament, and there are a number of points coming up where we will push to stop opening coal and gas. We're going to have to review this country's environment laws, and we want a climate trigger in those laws. The safeguard mechanism is going to have to be designed. And also, as I said during the speech, Labor's position is ultimately untenable. Like, the plea from the Pacific Islands recently was that if there's one thing we can do, it's stop opening new projects. We now have a situation where you have the Greens, US President Joe Biden, the Pacific Islanders, the UN, International Energy Agency on one side, and Labor and Liberal on the other. If Labor wants to host a climate summit here, which we support, but still open up new coal and gas mines, they may well not get it. Like, it may not happen here. This is increasingly becoming a deal breaker around the world, including with our closest security allies. Like, they want the government to act. So I understand that 2 weeks into the first parliament, Labor thinks it can maintain its position, but ultimately it can't. It is not a tenable position, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Like, we can have a debate about what targets should be and how quickly to get out of existing coal and gas. But I think if you asked the everyday Australian, should we stop opening up new projects at a time that we're trying to cut them, most people would say yes. Most people would say yes. And I think the penny hasn't really dropped with the government yet, just how much the rest of the world and the Australian public wants climate action and wants them to stop opening projects. And we will use and pull every lever at our disposal in this parliament and on the streets with the movement to make that happen.
Thank you very much.
Our next question is from Rosie Lewis from The Australian.
Thanks for your speech, Mr Bandt. Nancy Pelosi has made quite a historic trip in recent hours. I haven't heard your thoughts on China for some time. I wanted to know whether you think China poses a military threat to Australia. And what's your view of its growing presence in our region, in the Pacific?
Look, the Greens are concerned about rising tensions between US and China and what it means for our region. We're concerned about increasing instability. The whole world, but especially Australia, has a lot to lose if there is armed conflict between two nuclear-armed superpowers. We are in a position in Australia where we've got relationships with both to be taking steps to de-escalate. Right? What concerns us is that we don't see a plan on the table for de-escalation of tension. We only see a plan on the table for escalation of tensions. And what we will do is push for a de-escalation, knowing how much Australia has got to lose. That has to be the priority. And so as the new government considers its foreign policy, considers its defence policy, we will be saying we need a policy that puts Australia's interests and Australia's defence first, and that the best way to keep people safe in our region is to prioritise de-escalation, and we want to see the plan for that. Thanks very much.